Most beginners open up Canva and immediately feel lost, but don't worry. In today's video, I'm going to show you the few parts that you actually need to understand so you can feel more confident using Canva. The first thing I want us to do is go to a presentation document. And the reason for this is I want us to be on the same page together. And remember, you do not need to know what every single button does in Canva today. I just want you to understand the main areas first. If you need to go back to the home page, click this icon and it will take you back. Inside File, you can do a lot of things. And one thing that you can do is rename your design. I definitely recommend naming your design something meaningful so they're easier to find later. Resize lets you turn one type of design into another. I don't want to do that, so what I'm going to do is use this button instead and undo that to get it back to the presentation. These are my favorite: undo, redo. If you don't see them, it's because you've not added something to your design yet. Now let's look at a very important button. If you want to make changes in your design, make sure this drop down is set to editing. I've made that mistake myself before. You don't really need to save things yourself. Canva automatically does that for you. Watch this little cloud while I type. And then once I stop, the cloud changed back to a cloud with a check. It means that it is saved. Most of these buttons aren't important for beginners yet, but the important one is Share, because this is the button we need to download our designs. If you don't see what you need right away, click See All. Canva hides a lot of options inside those menus. Let's move over to the left-hand panel. One thing I want you to know about these icons is that you can hover over them quickly to preview them. But when you click on one, it stays open while you work. Click it again and it collapses back into preview mode. At this point, you're probably going, Jennifer, there's so many buttons here. That's why I'm going to break them down for you one at a time. The left-hand side is mostly for bringing things into your design. Canva AI basically allows Canva to design the page for you. You can type or speak what you want, and Canva AI will try to do that for you. Templates gives you designs that you can customize instead of starting from scratch. It could be that you like the fonts or the way things are arranged. I can drag my photo right on top of it. When it highlights purple, I know it's ready to replace the image. And when I let go of the mouse, Canva automatically applies the template style to the image. You can change the text, fonts, colors, pictures, however you want. Templates are great for things like that. When you want to add things like photos, shapes, graphics, or videos to your design, you'll usually use the Elements tab. You'll see recently used, recommended for you, popular searches, and even browse categories. As a beginner, I highly recommend exploring these categories so you can get an idea of what Canva offers. Oh, and you can type on the main Elements tab too. You can switch between tabs like graphics, photos, videos, and audio, depending on what you need. If you want words on your design, there's a couple different ways to do that. Pressing T on your keyboard is a shortcut for adding text. You can also use the Text tab, which gives you more text options. You'll see some more advanced options here like brand kit, dynamic text, and apps. You don't need to understand those yet. Another thing you'll see here is font combinations. And I like to think of font combinations as a template for words because the fonts, sizes, styles, and effects are already designed for you. Let's click on this one called Creating Magic. When you want to edit this, you could do one of two things. You can ungroup it and edit each piece separately. Or you can click directly on the text you want to change while keeping everything grouped together. And by the way, you can get rid of things either by clicking on it and clicking the delete button, or just by left clicking and moving it off to the side. Whenever you see a crown icon, that does mean that it is part of Canva Pro features. But don't worry, Canva for free is absolutely amazing for beginners. Next, we have brand. This is where you can save things like logos, colors, fonts, and even templates for your brand. It keeps all of your brand assets in one place. Underneath brand is uploads. You can upload things by clicking upload and selecting your item there. You can also click these three dots to upload entire folders of photos, videos, or designs. You can connect to other things like YouTube, Google Drive, Google Photos. Connecting to these accounts is completely optional, but you will need to do that if you want to work with these things inside of Canva. The other thing to know is three dots are your best friend, especially in uploads. The three dots give you a lot more options. They let you do things like rename files, move them into folders, download things, or even send them to trash. I'll put a resource in the description because Canva's upload options change over time. And by the way, if you are feeling stuck or have more questions, feel free to leave those in the comments. One thing I've not mentioned yet is that Canva frequently changes the way the UI looks, or they might remove something or add something. And if that's the case, what you're watching may not show what it looks like in the future. So feel free to leave the timestamps of where you're confused because I may have an updated Canva tutorial about that, or I can walk it through step by step in the comments. All right, let's get back to the lesson. We're going to click this button. This is another way you can collapse the side panel. Underneath uploads, there are tools. We've got a selector tool, but we also have a draw tool. This gives you things like pens, markers, and highlighters. There's even an eraser tool. You can also change the color and thickness of all of the draw tools. The other thing in tools that is exceptionally helpful is shapes, and there's a bunch of options here. You can also add lines from here. But if I'm being honest, that's not the way I get lines. I get lines by typing L on my keyboard, and then I change the line type. The other thing here is sticky notes. I find these really helpful if I'm making notes on a design. For example, I might leave myself a reminder to change a font later. The sticky notes make reminders really easy to notice. You'll also see options for text and tables here. And when you're done, click the X to close the panel again. Another really helpful option here is projects. This lets me search for older Canva projects I've already made. I can open it right inside my current project, which I find particularly helpful for using elements over again. Apps are kind of like add-ons that help Canva do more things. You can search for apps by typing in what you want help with, like images or videos. When you open an app, it appears in the left-hand panel while you use it. I clicked Typecraft earlier today. Typecraft is down here on the left-hand side. You can close an app anytime by hovering over it and clicking the X. Some apps are free, some require Canva Pro, and some require you to connect to outside accounts. You can also use the Your Apps section to quickly access apps you use a lot. If you try an app and you don't like it, then hover over it, click the three dots, and remove from your apps. It's still there. It's just not under my apps. This next part is probably the most important thing that you should understand when you're using Canva. As you use the left panel, things appear here in the middle. This is your main design workspace. The toolbar changes based on what you select. When you click on an image, you get image tools. If you click on text, you get text tools. Does that make sense? You can't break something by using it. I could click Ask Canva. It's not going to do anything to it unless I ask it to. Let's click Edit. Edit opens more image tools on the left side, like effects and filters. Some tools open up more options when you click them, like eraser. If I click one of the color options, Canva opens up the colors on the left-hand side. But some toolbar buttons open a drop-down right here on top of the design. Animate? Just try it. If you don't like what happened, you can usually undo it. Position is where you can arrange things. I could move this to the back if I wanted. Or I could look at the layers panel, which this is kind of like a sandwich or a stack of papers. This panel is really helpful when something is hard to click. Now let's look at this paint roller. Let's say that I decided I didn't want this to be Poppins anymore. I wanted it to be Klein. Copy style lets you copy the look of one thing and apply it to another thing. Sometimes menus get covered up. When that happens, you can use the bottom section to give yourself more room. Click the slider and make the percentage go down so that there's more room for the menu. You can also hide the page thumbnails if you want more workspace. Another thing that I love is to right-click. Don't let this menu overwhelm you. You do not need most of it right now. But I find it helpful because it gives keyboard shortcuts to a lot of my favorite tools. Now let's learn a few basic Canva skills that you'll use all the time. Most things can be added just by clicking on them. You can also drag and drop, whichever move is easier for you. Left click and hold your mouse down to move things around your design. When you click something, resize handles appear around it. You'll see circles around the corners and lines around the edges. The lines allow you to crop something in, and dragging the corners is one of the easiest ways to resize things. One thing I use a lot is the background remover. This picture is perfect for a YouTube thumbnail. If I decide I want to get rid of something, I do one of two things. I can click the item and press delete on my keyboard or use the delete icon on the page. Pressing R on the keyboard quickly adds a rectangle shape, or in this case, a square. If I want multiple copies of something, I can click the square and there is a button to duplicate things. And the fun thing is, once you place the first one, it will automatically guess where it wants the next one to go. I do it again, and then I'm going to do it one more time. And now I hold left click and select everything together, and I can move it to where I would like it to be. I can even size all of them together at once. You'll see a purple line, and that shows me that it's in the middle of this design. For editing text, all you need to do is double click the text box and then type in new words. Once your text is selected, you'll see more text options at the top too. If you want to change the color of something, click on the item you want to change the color of. Click on the color icon, and then all of the color options will be on the left-hand side. Canva even suggests colors already used in your design, which helps keep things consistent. Again, you do not need to learn every single basic Canva feature. Just figure out the basic actions you're going to use over and over again. Most Canva designing is really just clicking, moving, resizing, and changing things. Let's go back and look at a few more Canva controls that can make designing easier. Clicking the plus button creates another page in the same size and format. But this button lets you add different types of Canva pages and projects. Anytime you see a More button, there are usually additional options hidden there. Now let's take a look at the bottom section. You can always write notes. These are called presenter notes, and many Canva project types include them. These notes stay attached to a specific page, so different pages have different notes. You can even make the notes text larger if you want. You know, larger words for those of us that need them. The nice thing is, once you make the notes bigger, Canva keeps them bigger across your entire project. It's important to remember not every Canva project type includes the same tools. So on Canva Doc, there's an outline button. But if I click on another one, an outline button isn't there. So it's important to know that these menus will change depending on what project type you have. Canva also includes a built-in timer. And by clicking it, you can minimize it or bring it back up. And this timer is on every single page in your project. You can also zoom in and out using this slider. And there's a bar that's hard to see. You can move side to side. And remember, this button just changes the view. You can jump directly to a specific page from here. Grid View lets you see all of your pages at once and rearrange them more easily. You can also select multiple pages at once in Grid View, and I like to do this to delete them. Click it again to close Grid View. You can also present full screen. Another important button to know is this one. It's the Help Assistant. I'm going to be honest, it's hit or miss or whether it gets it right, but it still can be helpful if you have questions about specific Canva features. One thing that I have not mentioned is Canva is internet-based, and that means that sometimes things work a little funky. Sometimes it's a you problem. Your internet has a bad connection, and sometimes it's a Canva problem. Let me show you the website that I go to when Canva's giving me issues to find out if potentially it's a them problem or a me problem. Canvastatus.com. Right now, everything is operational and working normally, but sometimes Canva does have outages or temporary errors. This page will usually tell you whether Canva is investigating or fixing a problem. If Canva isn't reporting any issues, you can also contact Canva Support or report a problem. I'll leave helpful Canva support links in the description in case you need them later. And if you want more beginner-friendly Canva help, I put together this playlist where I break things down step by step.